What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Cannonballs podcast. As always, I'm one of your hosts, Dane Cannon. Co-hosting with me today is
your boy, J-Bo's on my one too.
And guys, we are actually going to stick with the new format. If you guys haven't listened, which I know you haven't listened to the last one, we will be incorporating our Week 12 reactions. We're going to be covering our Week 13 power rankings, along with Thursday night and all of our Sunday through Monday predictions all in the same episode. It's going to save us a little bit of time since we are both very busy. So I know that it's going to be a little bit of a longer episode. Bear with us. We'll try and power through it as best as we can. But guys, if you guys aren't already, follow us on our Instagram here, like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on, anything you can and do to help the podcast grow. We'd greatly appreciate. Jake, you have anything to add before we get going?
It was a good week of football.
Yeah.
You know, the Thanksgiving games kind of were not the best, but you know, there's a couple of really good games on Sunday. Actually, really, the primetime games were just kind of
garbage
duds again. Yeah. But the regular time games were awesome. Yeah, a lot of shaking up, a lot of solidifying what these teams are, I believe, and I'm excited to cover it. You ready, Dane?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get into it.
All right, so first we're going to start with, like I said, Thanksgiving games. And right off the bat, man, upset.
Yeah.
Upset alert. You know, the Packers beat the Lions 29-22.
They didn't just beat them. They dominated them. They dominated them.
Yeah, the score says 29-22, but it was not that close. From the jump, this game, the Packers dominated. Like Dane said, like Jordan Love, he looked great. Actually, this was his best game. The defense looked great.
Yep.
Holy crap, they dominated the O-line. They made Jared Goff look like, you know, I say this all the time. Jared Goff can have really, really bad games where he can single-handedly lose the game for you. And you know, it almost happened last week against the Bears. Luckily, the Bears aren't that great of a team. But, you know, they got lucky and won. But, you know, the Packers aren't that great of a team. And they just, you know, got behind too much and were not able to, you know, mount a comeback. Yeah, man. What did you think of this game?
I was genuinely surprised with how poor the Detroit offensive line performed. This is supposed to be one of the best units in the NFL, and they got demolished. Like, Rashawn Gary had himself a day. He was in the backfield, left and right.
3 sacks.
Yeah, 3 sacks. I think that was his career best. Jared Goff, multiple fumbles.
3.
Didn't look great at all. The Detroit defense couldn't do anything. Like you said, this was Jordan Love's best game. I think he even looked better this game, even if the stats aren't as good as they were against the Chargers. I think that this was his best performance. He looked on target. He looked like he was decisive, like pinpoint accurate. Like, this is what you would want to see from your basically rookie quarterback. You know, this is his first season, like having the entirety of the season starting, and they were without Aaron Jones, and it didn't matter. Like, A.J. Dillon stepped up when he needed to. Christian Watson got utilized. Jaden Reed got utilized. It was just a good performance overall from Green Bay. And this is kind of what we were expecting to a certain degree, I think, throughout the beginning of the season. Like, it hasn't looked pretty for Green Bay. Like, they have games where it's like the offense is just completely out of sync. The defense doesn't know what they're doing. But this is kind of more of like they can play upset. Like, they can be a middle of the pack team. And this is a step in the right direction. LaFleur kind of is bringing the team back a little bit, I think. Like, he's had back-to-back weeks now, and I think they've won 3 of their last 4 games. So something's clicking with this team. Something's going in the right direction. And for Detroit, unfortunately, they just can't win on, what is it, waning or waxing crescent moons? Like, they've lost 13 straight now or something like that. They just can't.
That's insane.
They just can't put it together on the moon. Like, apparently, if there's going to be a waxing or waning, whatever the fuck crescent moon, when the Lions play, bet against them. So win yourself some money. Do yourself a favor.
And we'll talk about the Chicago Bears later, but surprise, they won.
Yeah.
And the Packers winning and the Vikings losing and the Lions losing has made this division very interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, the Packers are one game behind the Vikings. They have a shot to make the playoffs. You know, it's not over till it's over. So, I mean, if the Packers play like they did on Thursday, and, you know, we'll get to them later, but if the Vikings keep playing like that,
and Detroit keeps playing like they did against Green Bay,
yeah,
it'll definitely make this division interesting for sure.
Yeah, it's going to shake things up. And also playoff implications. Lions losing dropped them to the third seed. So, you know, they were in the second. It's kind of hard for anybody really to catch up to the Eagles right now. But, yeah, man, it was not a pretty game at all. Speaking of not pretty games, the next Thursday night game.
I don't even want to talk about this one that much. Yep. I'll get it going. So it was Dallas versus the Commanders. And I don't know if you've ever seen that. I can't remember if it's Family Guy or South Park skit when it's the Cowboys versus like the Redskins. And it's just one guy hiking the ball to himself and then just like getting cream pied the entire game. That's what it was like. Dak and CD continued to go ball out. Tony Pollard had a good game, and the defense, history was made. 5 pick sixes, and it's incredible
for one player. One player,
yeah.
DaRon Bland.
Yeah, DaRon Bland. He officially has more touchdowns than like big name receivers in the NFL right now, which is absolutely crazy, and it's impressive, man. I'm happy for the guy. That's history, and he still has an opportunity to extend that. I mean, the Dallas defense is good, but I do need to say this. Dallas still has not beaten a team that has above a 500 record. Every team that they've beaten is below 500. And it does scare me a little bit because this is how they should look against subpar competition. But what happens when they play a good team? They got obliterated by the 49ers, like absolutely demolished. They lost a pretty close one to Philly, but Philly, I don't think, has the best defense, and they still lost. And who else did they lose to? Oh, they lost to Arizona, which is just kind of like a wacky game, I think, for the most part. But we definitely saw some regression from the Commander side. Sam Howell definitely did not play very well. The offense in general didn't play well. The defense didn't play well. It was just a complete annihilation. You know, good win for the Cowboys. I do want to see it against better competition, though.
Yep, I agree. I don't even have to say anything. All right, next game.
You can take the forefront on this one, baby.
I don't mind talking about this one. 49ers absolutely cream pied the Seattle Seahawks 31-13, and Seahawks didn't get a single offensive touchdown. Shoot, where do I even begin? Just from the start, the 49ers were a better team. Brock Purdy wheeling and dealing, doing the same shit as he always does. He did get a pick six in this game, and you know, it was kind of an errant throw, tip pass, whatever. It was his worst play, but you know, he made some really nice plays in this game.
Especially the late touchdown throw to Brandon Ayuk. That was money. That was beautiful.
Dude, he threw it into quadruple coverage. Like, it's insane. It's insane that I feel like Brock Purdy is definitely not getting as much respect as he should be. I feel like people just want to like write him off just because he's surrounded by weapons. And yeah, he is surrounded by.
I think that there's another part that comes into that. He definitely is disrespected in the NFL, but I think a lot of that is also based off of where he was drafted. It's like, how can Mr. Irrelevant be this good? And I think that he's utilizing that to his advantage and, you know, playing with a chip on his shoulder. And he's like a Tom Brady right now. I'm not comparing him to Tom Brady. He's Tom Brady-esque. Like, he's playing with the same chip on his shoulder, and he's proving everyone wrong. Like, he is playing out of his freaking mind.
Yeah, if he can play like that, if the team's healthy, this team's easily the second best or the best team in the NFL. I truly believe that. The defense, I would
put them above the Philadelphia Eagles, and we're going to find out this coming week.
I cannot wait. But the defense, you know, balled out of their minds. Absolutely shut down DK Metcalf. Made Geno look like he was still playing in New York. There was no run game to be heard of from the Seattle Seahawks. honestly, like there was not much from the Seahawks that you could hang your hat on.
No, not at all.
I
Other
think
than
the
the pick
only
six,
yeah,
that's
and
basically
it was really more of a bad throw by Brock Purdy. Man, like it was just such a dominant win. Like
in
it's
Seattle
so
too, which is
yeah,
good to see.
In Seattle, this is 4 in a row against Seattle. You know, that's got to start playing into the mindset of the team. You know, can we beat this team? Blah blah blah. Geez, and there was no injuries. Jair Brown, you know, performed admirably in the place of Talanoa Hufanga. The play calling, great. Christian McCaffrey, we already know. It's kind of like when everything goes good, it's like you could just go on and on and on and on. So with that being said, I'm just gonna say it was a great win, and on to the next because you know we got a very important game in Week 13. So good job,
Yeah.
49ers.
This was just pure domination. I am a little concerned for Seattle. I have had them lower in my power rankings, rightfully so, which I kind of feel like there was a little bit of imposter syndrome going on. We have seen the regression from Geno Smith. I know that he's dealing with the injury to his elbow or whatever the injury was. You know, Kenneth Walker wasn't out there, but Zach Charbonnet is still a good running back. The offensive line couldn't do anything. Defense couldn't do anything really. Yeah, it hasn't looked pretty for Seattle recently. And so I think that they're kind of falling into where they should be. I've been a little bit lower on them. They're kind of in the middle of the pack right now. And they started off the season hot, but they're kind of dwindling down.
Yeah, and this is what I was saying last week. You know, maybe people were calling me haters or whatever, or you know, if you actually listen to this. But I thought the Seahawks were probably a good team, and I don't think they're as good as some people maybe thought. And it kind of showed. I mean, yes, they played one of the best teams in the NFL, but they got destroyed. Like they weren't able to do anything. And the same thing happened against the Ravens. And, you know, they lost to the Rams. They lost to the Niners. Guess who they play the next 2 weeks? The Cowboys and the 49ers. That could be easily 4 games in a row that are losses. Yeah, I mean, it was fun. Like, I'm not going to try to hate on Geno. If you're an NFL team, I think you seriously have to consider if he's the future. I mean, and if you look in Denver, like Russell Wilson is looking like old Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know, man. Like there was nothing positive on the Seattle side of the ball in this game.
Agreed.
All right. That was Thursday night. Happy Thanksgiving.
Oh my God. Our favorite Black Friday football.
Jesus
Christ.
NFL, you know how to pick them. It was such an exciting game. I almost shit my pants.
I mean, it would have been a lot more exciting if Aaron Rodgers was in there. Give them credit for that. But
yeah,
Tim. Okay.
Real quick, Dane. Real quick. I just want to let everyone know we picked the Lions. We didn't get that one right, but we did pick the Cowboys, and we both picked the 49ers. So, and we both picked the Dolphins. Take it away, Dane.
So Miami travels to New York. A little bit of weather, a little bit involved. I don't care. I'm gonna say this right now. I think Tim Boyle's actually worse than Zach Wilson, and that's hard to do. It is.
Yeah.
It is bad. And I mean, I have never in my almost 30 years of existence seen a 99-yard Hail Mary return for a touchdown. That's pathetic. That is one of the worst things I have ever seen. I mean,
real quick, Dan, I almost forgot about that. And yeah, thank you for reminding me because that's that's something you see in college.
Yeah.
You don't see that in the pros.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It was bad. It was really bad. Garrett Wilson had an okay game. Breece Hall got shut down. Tim Boyle looks like garbage. The defense, they're still playing admirably. The defense is the only thing to hang your hat on if you're a New York Jet fan. I mean, Robert Saleh at least can coach that, but I mean, they're out there so much that they can't do anything.
I'll say this about the defense. I think it's starting to going the
crumble a
other
little
direction.
bit.
Yeah, like they're tired. They don't want to play anymore. I think
Yeah.
the season's over. The season's over, and you can tell watching the Jets defense, like for some players, like they're still playing hard. They're still playing their hearts out, but I see some players just kind of like they're over it. They're fed up, and I get it.
And I think that part of that comes into the fact that like you have to think you're not going to the playoffs. You're not going to the Super Bowl, so you're trying to think about longevity in your career in the NFL, and which is why I think that we're seeing that from some of the players. And I agree, like it is kind of crumbling a little bit. Plus, there's turmoil in the locker room, apparently. I mean, it's dysfunctional in New York. It's unfortunate. Aaron Rodgers is trying to say that he's coming back for Week 16. What the fuck? I don't think that that's going to change anything, especially if there's like as much turmoil as there is. But New York, I feel for them because it's been a bad year. And this was supposed to be like one of the best years, like Super Bowl aspirations. And it just hasn't come to fruition. I mean, Miami on the other side of the ball, Tyreek still doing Tyreek things. Raheem Mostert got going this game. I think he had 2 touchdowns on the ground. Tua, he hasn't looked great recently. I will say that, but he did enough to win this game. And Miami's defense, I mean, they played the Jets, but Miami's defense has been doing pretty well. Yeah.
Ooh, I don't remember what his name. Phillips, the dude who tore his ACL.
Oh yeah. Oh my God, Jalen Phillips.
Yes.
No, I don't.
Okay,
it was his Achilles.
Okay. Oh my God, if you guys haven't seen this play, and if you have a strong stomach, go back and watch this.
Just the rebound from that step is just.
It almost. I saw it and I was like, oh, I told my dad because I was watching with my family and I was like, Dad, rewind it. And I was like, you could see it snap into his body. Like, oh, dude, just thinking about it grosses me out. I mean, dude, I saw a thing on Instagram. In the last like 2 or 3 years, there has been 14 season-ending injuries that were like Achilles injuries or whatever at MetLife.
Yeah. Because I mean, they're one of the stadiums that uses turf. I'm pretty sure. Like, I don't think that they use grass, and it's the same thing. Like, they need to get this. This is turning into a tangent, but they really need to replace any field that has turf. Make it grass. It gives the players so much more flexibility and like cushion when they have impact. Because you have to think like these players are going harder than any human beings on earth. And they're just giving it 100%, well, not 100% every time, but you know what I mean? Like they are going hard and they're putting their body through so much physical like turmoil constantly. And it's just going to wear the body down. So you have to do as much as you can. If you want to protect players, switch to fucking grass. Get the artificial shit out of there.
Yeah, I mean, you make billions. I mean, we've talked about this already. You make billions of dollars. You can afford to water your grass. Cheap fucks. But yeah, Dolphins. One last thing about the Dolphins. They're like the Cowboys. Still haven't seen them beat anybody. I'm not impressed yet. So, I want to see them beat someone good. But Tyreek Hill he's just disgusting, dude.
He's a beast.
He's an animal. And I bet you're glad he's out of your division. All right, let's go to Sunday. This game we differed on. I picked the Steelers. Dane picked the Bengals, and Steelers won. 16-10. It was, I guess this is the most yardage. Canada. Yes. This is the most yardage at the Steelers. This is the first time they've surpassed 400 yards in the season.
59 games.
Yeah, or 59 games. Oh, shit. Yeah. I thought it was just the season.
No, 59, I'm pretty sure.
That's ridiculous. But, they look pretty good on offense, and the defense, it's a great defense. And unfortunately for the Bengals, I thought maybe Jake Browning could be better than what we thought. But, I mean, okay, he did play a good defense. I'll give him a little bit of a pass, but even then, he didn't look that great.
The
Bengals,
the only receptions that Jamar Chase took for as many yards as he had were tipped. They were tip passes. Like, that's just how good Jamar Chase is. Like, his awareness is unmatched. And like, did you see that catch he had on the sideline with the mouthpiece in his hand?
Yeah.
Like that was incredible. Like Jamar Chase, is this offense right now. Him and Joe Mixon. Browning
Real.
is. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Real quick, bring it back to the Steelers. Welcome back, Pat Fryermuth.
Yep.
Holy shit. I didn't realize he had that much yardage. 9 for 120.
Yeah.
Woof. Woof.
Yeah.
Getting hot and bothered over here.
He balled out, and Jalen Warren, Najee Harris, you're getting them going at the right time, which is what you need to do. I think getting rid of Matt Canada definitely is helping this team. Hopefully Cincinnati has a good defense. It's not great. It's not elite, but it's a good defense. So having over 400 yards against a good defense is a good indicator that the season's going well. And they're what, 7-4? Is that what they are?
Nope.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, they just don't know how to have losing seasons under Mike Tomlin. I still have my question mark. I still have my question marks about Kenny Pickett, but he looked better. He looked better without Matt Canada, so maybe it was a lot of the offensive play calling. Other than that, I feel bad for the Bengals. I think the season's done.
Definitely.
It's going to be tough. Even if they made it to playoffs somehow, they're not going to win a game with Browning at the quarterback. It's unfortunate. Kind of just get ready for next year. Join us Chargers fans. But good win for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, it's definitely over. You look at the elite AFC teams. What do they all have? Elite quarterbacks. It's not happening. All right, next game. If that Eagles-Bills game wasn't the game of the week, this definitely was, in my opinion. But Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Houston Texans in a nail-biter. They beat them 24-21. Unfortunately, we went with the young hotness and the Texans.
They technically almost tied the game up with that game, or with the game-tying field goal. They were that close.
Yeah, they were very close. At least they didn't get blown out. And the biggest thing about this game is, CJ Stroud he's good, man. I've
really
said it
good.
before. He made me eat my own words. And it's not like I was like, oh, he's terrible. He's terrible. I just was a little bit skeptical.
You had to pump the brakes with him because he's a rookie quarterback. Rookie quarterbacks can have games where they look great and then they fall off. Mac Jones had games where he looked good, and now he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. We'll get to him.
About him later.
Yeah, we'll get to him.
But both quarterbacks on both sides of the ball played great. This is this is 2 or 3 games.
Yeah, I think this is back to back. I think this is back to back games for Trevor Lawrence, where it's welcome back. This is what we were expecting. Utilizing your legs.
3 games ago, he got destroyed by the Niners.
Yeah, so it's welcome back, utilizing the legs. And he had a knee brace on this game, apparently. I didn't even realize that till the broadcaster announced that. But Trevor Lawrence looked good. Calvin Ridley, minus the 1 drop, looked good. Travis Etienne continues to be
back too.
Yeah, Travis Etienne continues to look good. The defense played well. But CJ Stroud, man, him and Tank Dell, that is a combo that I did not see being as good as it is. That combo it's really good. It is really good. I'm not going to call it elite yet, but it is, for a rookie combination, they look like they've been doing this for years. They really do. Tank Dell, his agility, his route running, and his hands, for as small as he is, and his body control. He is really freaking good. And CJ Stroud is putting him in positions to succeed. So I really like what I'm seeing from them. I'm not too disappointed by this loss. I think this is one of those losses where I feel good about the team overall, because they played a really good team and they still looked really good. And you made the right decision. Houston made the right decision. They have one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL as a rookie.
They didn't really have an option.
They didn't, but it looks good now. The decision, all this stuff that happened, all the turmoil. Houston has something to hang their hats on now, and they have a good receiving core. Singletary is looking good. The defense under DeMeco Ryan looks great. Mm-hmm. This was just a hard-fought battle. This looked like a playoff implication game, and it lived up to the hype. These teams are both really good.
Yeah, and we'll talk about them later, but the Jags, the Colts, and the Texans, they're all, in the playoff hunt. And or the Colts might have popped into the 7th seed. I'm not really sure. I have to check that. But
They're what, 6-5 now?
yeah,
I think that I think they are the 7th seed.
holy shit.
And I think Houston's now in the hunt because they lost.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville's obviously leading the division.
Yeah, so they had the number 1 seed for a little bit. But no, I agree with you 100%. Like if you're a Texans fan, even though you lost, like you cannot be disappointed in this performance. Like it was just like CJ Stroud is tight, dude. Like I'm happy for him. I'm happy that he's changing the narrative on Ohio State
quarterbacks 100%. He's different, man. Like you can tell that there's just something about him. Like he's I don't know, man. Like it reminds me of Justin Herbert's rookie career. Like Justin Herbert came out of nowhere and like just lit the league on fire. And I think CJ Stroud might actually break Herbert's record, if I'm not mistaken, because Herbert beat Andrew Luck's record for most passing yards and touchdowns in a single season as a rookie. And I think CJ Stroud's on pace to beat that, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah, insane. Real quick, shout out to Nico Collins, seven for 104 and a touchdown. So yeah, man, it was a fun one. I think the Texans will be fine.
Agreed.
So yeah. On to the next one. This one was actually a pretty good game. We differed on this one. I went with the Bucks, Dane with the Colts, and the Colts won 27-20. Baker Mayfield definitely made it interesting towards the end. And still, like, even though they've lost like 2 in a row, only won like 1 out of their last like 4 or 5, whatever it is. You know, the Bucks still look good to me. Like they don't look that bad. Like I think they're a lot better.
A couple pieces away from having a playoff team. And I think that you can actually build around Baker. And I didn't think I was going to be able to say that like ever about Baker. Yeah. But yeah, like I think if you honestly can just add a couple more pieces to the defense, add a couple more pieces to the offense, like Rachaad White looks good. Mike Evans.
We might need to rewind everything we said about Baker, because seeing how bad the Panthers are, maybe we needed to give him a little bit of a pass last year.
Yeah.
But sorry, continue.
No, you're good. I mean, yeah, I genuinely I think you can build around Baker. Like it seems like he's matured a little bit. Like he's not putting the ball in harm's way as much as he used to. Like he still has a couple questionable throws, but they look decent, man. And they're in every single game that they play, even though they haven't won as many games as you would like, especially if you're a Tampa Bay fan. Like they're at least competitive, and that's more than you can say about a lot of teams. And Mike Evans balling out still. Rachaad White looks good. Chris Godwin utilized here and there, but the defense, like they keep you in games. Like they're a good rush defense. I will say that. I think that they give up a little bit in the secondary, but they can still make big plays. Like I said, I think they're a couple pieces off. Build around Baker, and I think you could have a playoff team again.
Yeah, and then the Colts. Man, their defense is good. Like this is again. We keep saying the same shit, but this is the defense we thought we were getting last year, and they're actually really good. I mean, I don't know if they've played top. Well, they were kind of close with the Ravens, now I think about it. So I think they're just a good defense. And you know what? Gardner Minshew, I would have, we all would have loved to see what Anthony Richardson, because honestly, like Anthony Richardson and CJ Stroud would have probably, I guarantee you, they would have been competing for that Offensive Rookie of the Year. Anthony Richardson just couldn't stay healthy, but Gardner Minshew, besides that first game when he was a starter, he has been very serviceable.
He definitely looks better than any of the other backups who have the starting job right now. Like he looks like he could be a starter. I mean, he
was for a couple years. So
yeah. And
Minshew mania, baby.
Yeah. Not only that, like he's played with the Jags, he's played with the Eagles. He has tenure in the NFL. He's got experience. He's a veteran quarterback, and he's winning you games. So him and Michael Pittman definitely have some chemistry going. Jonathan Taylor is getting going again, which is great to see. Mo Alley Cox, that big gigantor mother effort running down the field, not very fast, but you can just give that like toss up and he'll catch it. And yeah, man, Josh Downs coming back from injury, getting utilized a little bit. But like you said, the defense, and I've been impressed with the Colts. This is kind of the team that me and you expected them to be last year. Like maybe a little bit less than what we expected because I think we had them winning 10 games last year, but they have an opportunity. They could still win 10, 11 games this year and make playoffs. I think the Colts are a team that I think they can beat anyone, but I also think that they can lose to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, next game. Man, I freaking hate this team. Atlanta Falcons beat the Saints 24-15. We both went with the Saints, and welcome, Bijan. You had your coming out party. He absolutely balled out. 16 for 91, 1 touchdown, and a receiving touchdown. Drake London, he's not getting the touchdowns you would like if you play fantasy, but he's definitely the best wide receiver on that team. He's a good wide receiver too. His only problem is he's not dealing with the best quarterback play, but
I think Desmond Ridder had a good game though. Overall.
Yeah.
Overall, I think he had a good game.
I agree. And also I do like Taylor Heineke, but I think it's best for the franchise to start Desmond Ridder, because that way, if he ends up being the dude, then you don't have to draft another freaking quarterback. You can really develop him. You can build him part of that culture, and he is mobile, and he does have a nice arm. Like he's just makes some dumb decisions from time to time, and he's in his second year.
Like you can utilize his legs. Like he's definitely a much better runner than Heineke is, and so he offers that dual threat mobile quarterback.
Yeah, and he does make bad decisions, but this is his second year, and he played 4 games last year. So you got to give him time. Like not all quarterbacks can be like Brock Purdy or CJ Stroud. Like the NFL's hard, man. It takes some time. It takes sometimes to the third year. I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence. He looked like a rookie at times this year, and then he's been playing like the person we thought he would play the last couple weeks. And then the defense just absolutely shut down the Saints, man.
Dude, Atlanta's defense is a good defense this year, and I was kind of hyping it up a little bit, but their secondary is good. I don't know. I mean, they've been doing it to everyone. They haven't been blown out by any means by any team this year. But I do want to transition to the Saints because Derek Carr, Jesus Christ, man. I know Rashid Shaheed gets injured. I know Chris Olave gets a concussion near the end, but dude, Derek Carr I think he's regressed big time. It has not looked pretty. Alvin Kamara, decent. Taysom Hill, decent. Dealing with a couple injuries to your wide receivers, not looking good. The defense is still okay, but it hasn't been performing the way that I expected it to this year. I think that they've been a letdown overall, if I'm going to be honest. I mean, the Saints, we had winning 11 games. We thought their schedule was going to be easy, and it has turned out anything but.
Yeah, I had them being this year's Eagles, where they just benefit from a super easy schedule, and I mean, it's not happening. I mean, they're out of first place. The Falcons are in first place in that division.
They're both 5-6.
Yeah. So I mean, this division is a toss up between the first 3 teams. Panthers aren't winning shit, but the Bucks are 2 games behind. The Bucks and the Falcons are tied. It's anyone's division. I'm not even going to pretend to predict this one. But yeah, man, the Saints are just very disappointing right now. They have not looked good at all in the last 3 weeks. I agree with you. Derek Carr he's looked like he's regressing, man. And I don't know, man. I do not know. He's definitely got, and another thing, they're kind of injured. So maybe that's a little bit to deal with it. Michael Thomas is on IR. Olave got the concussion.
And then Shaheed's out as well. Yeah. So it's you're down your top 3 wide receivers. That's not going to benefit Derek Carr. But still, you had Chris Olave for most of this game, who was having a great game, by the way. Chris Olave actually had a good game, and then he gets injured, which sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, just unfortunate for the Saints, but good win for the Falcons. They definitely needed that one.
Yep.
All right, next game. All right, this one we will not have to talk about much. And of course, we went with the Patriots. They did not win. The New York Giants beat the Patriots 10-7. And yeah, Tommy DeVito, bro. I'm not saying he's good, but he's won 2 games in a row now. Who did he beat last week? The Jets? Was it the Jets? Who did they beat last week?
I cannot remember.
Look that up for me. But you know, Tommy DeVito's got 2 in a row. He's actually throwing the ball pretty nice. Jalen Hyatt, you know, the rookie, finally has freaking emerged. He had 109 yards. He got the touchdown to Isaiah Hodgins. It was a beautiful throw. And then that was pretty much it on the New York Giants side of the ball. I mean, besides the defense playing good,
They beat
the New England
Commanders.
Patriots. Okay, Commanders. But the Patriots, man, they are 2-9. They are.
It is
bad.
a train wreck of a season. Mac Jones.
I think they got to be the second worst team, like at least record wise.
Yeah, I think they only have 2 wins.
Oh my god.
They'll have 3 after this week. But anyway, Mac Jones. This is, I think, his 3rd or 4th time being benched halfway throughout the game. Bailey Zappi comes in, does the exact same shit. I think the only bright spot, Ramondre Stevenson, been doing pretty decent as a running back. The defense is still playing pretty well. But, this offense is abysmal. It is really bad. Like, bad quarterback play. Douglas can't do everything. Ramondre can't do everything. Tommy DeVito ends up beating you, and Tommy DeVito is not a good quarterback, in my opinion, but the New York Giants, at least the Giants defense has been playing really well recently. I'll give them credit for that. Like, the Giants have definitely turned a corner with their defense. I mean, the offense is still struggling. Saquon got going. Tommy DeVito, like you said, won 2 games. They put up a lot of points against the Commanders, but the Commanders are terrible. So yeah, not too much else to say. New England's bad. Giants, I think they're still a bad team. Like, let's temper expectations even after a 2-game win streak. I mean, they've won 3 or 4 games. I think they've won 4 games. So I think they're 4-8, which is not great, but still, at least it's a 2-game winning streak. Good win for New York.
Yeah, if I'm the New England Patriots, I do everything I can to try to get Caleb Williams and or Drake May or whatever quarterback you want, but they need it because and honestly, like, wide receivers too. Like, the wide receivers are just not it here. But I'm not even going to talk about this game anymore. Let's move on. All right, this one not going to have too much to talk about either. Tennessee Titans beat the Carolina Panthers 17-10, and breaking news, not so breaking news, Frank Reich has been fired. Yeah, so back-to-back seasons of being fired, I think in the first 10 games or something like that. And
I
it's
don't
kind
put
of a
that
bummer.
on Frank Reich, though. I mean, it's the owner, man. Like, you got to at least give him time. He has no one on the offensive side of the ball. You thought Bryce Young was going to be better than he is, but the offensive line doesn't do him any favors. There's no wide receiving core. I mean, Jonathan Mingo had his best game, but Adam Thielen's like, 33, 34, however old he is. Other than that, you have no one. The defense still plays decent. I mean, they got after Tennessee and Will Levis. Will Levis didn't have a good game. But, like, come on. Frank Reich, I still think, is a good head coach. He was just working with nothing, man.
Yeah, and honestly, I know it doesn't look like it, but I think this was Bryce Young's one of his best games so far. Kind of gives me still. I mean, I'm not writing him. I'm not writing him out by any means. This is a bad team he's on. Like, bad.
Agreed.
Like,
and he showed that he can utilize his legs, which was good.
Yeah, like, they have literally like 3 or 4 players on both sides of the ball.
Chuba Hubbard had a good game.
Yeah, so I'm not putting this one on Bryce. I'm not putting it on Frank Reich. Like, this is just a bad team, and they need to rebuild fast, or they're gonna ruin Bryce Young's career.
Yeah,
Titans.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry had a pretty nice game. Will Levis, yeah, he looked okay. Nothing crazy special. It was kind of a boring game. Made a couple
Defense
good
looked
throws to
good.
D Hop. Yeah,
Yeah, D
so
Hop had a couple good catches. Defense looked good. There's not. It was a boring game. Let's be honest. I mean, the 1-10 Panthers going up against a 3-win Tennessee team wasn't a very exciting game to watch, but good win for Tennessee. They beat the worst team in the NFL.
yep. Real quick, we did pick the Titans to win, so we got that one right. Let's go on to the next one. We did not get this one right by not even close. The Los Angeles Rams just completely cream pied the Arizona Cardinals 37-14. And welcome back, Kyren Williams, baby. Notre Dame, baby. That's how Notre Dame players play, baby. Holy moly. Kyren Williams had single-handedly took over this game. Single-handedly. I mean, okay, obviously the offensive line. The offensive line and the running back, they're one unit. They single-handedly took over this game. I mean, Matthew Stafford wasn't playing that great. Like, he had a couple good throws to Tutu. Really didn't target Cooper. Really didn't target
Cooper Kupp got injured again, though. Just make a note of that.
Yeah. And
Higbee had a good game.
Oh, yeah. You know, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Caught 2 touchdowns. I think he caught the first 2 touchdowns, and then Kyren Williams got it done on the ground and in the passing game. Like, he was all over. I think he had over 200 yards in total between receiving and rushing, and I think he had 3 touchdowns? 3 touchdowns?
He had 2
touchdowns. I mean, that's
2 receiving touchdowns.
Yeah, still, that's a great game. Kyren Williams was just shedding blockers like it was nothing. I mean, the Arizona Cardinals don't have a great rush defense to begin with, but he just obliterated them. It was good to see Stafford looking like he still had some zip on the ball even after his hand injury. It was just a dominant performance. Arizona just did not look good. Kyler had the 1 rushing touchdown, but other than that, it just was not pretty. They couldn't get anything going through the air, on the ground. Defense couldn't stop anything. It was just domination. Good win for the Rams.
Yeah. Yep. Arizona's bad. I mean, they're a little bit better with Kyler. I mean, I'm not even gonna say a little. They're a lot better with Kyler, but they're still a bad team. So
yeah,
Rams just spanked them, man. Yeah, they really did. So good win for the Rams. And actually, they're right there in the wild card race. You know, if the Seahawks keep declining and the Rams win a couple, I mean, the Rams have pieces, man.
I mean, the Rams also 2-0'd the Seahawks this year.
Yeah. So if it comes down to a tie, guess who gets to go to playoffs? The Rams. They honestly, I'd be, and I'm being completely honest. If the 49ers had to face the Rams or the Seahawks in playoffs, I'd be more scared of the Rams because they have weapons. They have weapons everywhere, and that they have a young defense that plays hard. They have a Hall of Fame defensive tackle in Aaron Donald. I mean, luckily
Aaron
for the
Donald
49ers,
had himself a game against Arizona, by the way.
So, yeah, Rams, keeping their playoffs hopes alive. I like it. All right, next game. This is where we differed again. I picked the Broncos. Dane picked the Browns.
Yeah, good
and
pick.
They won. And the Broncos 29-12. I just had a feeling about the Broncos. Granted, yeah, they lost Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but they were beating them pretty well before he got hurt. And
yeah, I think
honestly,
the biggest. Go ahead.
I was just saying the Broncos dominated them.
Yeah, and they're on a 5-game winning streak now. 5 games. Absolutely crazy to think where this defense is compared to where they were when they gave up a historical 70 points. This defense is made a complete 180. They have completely turned it around. Sean Payton seems like he knows what he's doing. Russell Wilson kind of looking like vintage Russ again. Cortland Sutton just can't go a game without scoring a touchdown anymore. He's getting it going. The defense balled out. Bad news for Cleveland. Myles Garrett could miss time. Seen wearing a sling after the game. Said he heard a pop in his shoulder. So kind of monitor that because he was the biggest piece on that defense. I think the defense will still be really good. Don't get me wrong. But losing Myles Garrett for however many weeks or possibly the year is a huge loss. And especially when DTRs and concussion protocol, you're on your third string quarterback, and DTR is not a good quarterback this year anyway. He's a rookie. Kind of just the offense is going to be bad. They're going to have to rely heavily on Jerome Ford and Kareem Hunt. And if the defense can, still keep it manageable, they'll still win games, but I just can't see them making any noise in playoffs.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
but still, dominant win for the Broncos. Good win for them.
You said you can't see the Broncos or the Browns making any noise in the playoffs?
Browns. Did I say Broncos? I meant Browns. I can't see the Browns making any noise in playoffs. I can see the Broncos making some noise, especially after going on a 5-game winning streak.
They already are making some noise. I mean, this is what good coaching does for a team. I mean, let's be honest. They have, on paper last year, this year, they have a good team. Last year, they had a top 5 defense. They have all the weapons they had last year, this year. What's the difference? Coaching. And obviously playing better. Yeah. No,
maybe the Chargers can take a fucking note of that and do something about it themselves.
Yeah, because Brandon Staley in it. Surprise. No, the Broncos, like, I know you're not gonna hear this, but they're kind of fun to watch right now. Like,
oh yeah, no,
they're fun again. They're fun again, and I definitely think they're gonna make a splash. Either they're gonna ruin a lot of team seasons, or they're going to mess around and make the playoffs.
Yeah, it's weird because it kind of reminds me, it's very similar to the Chargers 2017 season when they went 0-4 and then they ended up finishing 9-7. And then they went on like a 6-game winning streak and everyone was like, oh man, the Chargers are there. They're going to catch the Chiefs. And then the Chiefs pulled away because they beat the Chargers. I'm not saying it's going to happen to the Broncos, but because I hope it doesn't. Like, I'd rather see the Broncos right now than the Chiefs again. But it's crazy, man. It's a complete 180. Like, this Broncos team looks good. It looks good.
Yeah. And they have a run game. They have a quarterback who can run and throw. They have good wide receivers. They have a defense. They have the coaching. Like, this team is set up for success. They just need to execute, and they have been.
Yep.
All right, next game. This one was a little bit more surprising. For probably the first 3 quarters. But, the Chiefs came away with it at the end. We both took them to win. Scared me a little bit. But the Chiefs won 31-17, and they're the Chiefs. Rashee Rice had a freaking phenomenal game.
Yep.
107 and a touchdown.
Travis Kelce also had a pretty good game.
Mm-hmm. And then, good job for the Chiefs. They should have beat the Raiders. But honestly, the Raiders...
They came out firing. They were up 14-0 at one point.
They were hot. I mean, Devontae Adams was getting the ball, Jacoby Myers, Josh Jacobs was running all over the field.
The defense was playing well the first couple drives.
Yeah, and then it just stalled out, unfortunately for them.
Max Crosby also dealing with a knee injury, I think, so he was kind of in and out.
Yeah. So, I mean, good win for the Chiefs. They just keep it rolling, man.
Yep, that Chiefs defense definitely turned it up in like the second quarter and then throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah. You ready to move on from this one? I don't really have much to say about it.
Yeah, no, it's the Chiefs Raiders. I mean, Raiders have an interim head coach. I mean, they had a couple games where they look good, but it's kind of back to reality, I think.
Yeah, I think the biggest storyline is Rashee Rice. Like, he had a great game, and I think he's kind of solidifying himself as
the number 1
or 2 behind Kelce.
Yeah, number 1 wide receiver. Number 1 receiving option still going to be Travis Kelce, obviously.
Yeah. All right, and the next game of the week, possibly game of the year. It's going to be, I forget which one was close, but when we look at the game of the year lists, I'll have to remind myself, but game of the week for sure. Philadelphia Eagles beating the Buffalo Bills 37-34 in overtime. We both picked the Eagles, and oh my goodness, how the fuck did they win? I said something last week, like maybe this is just a lucky team. Nah, this is just a fucking good team. I'm just gonna be completely frank. This is a good team who wins ugly games, and that's what football is. Football is an ugly sport, and it's not always going to be sunshines and rainbows and blowouts and blah blah blah. But the Eagles find a way to win, whether it's running the ball, whether it's on the back of their defense, or like in this game, whether it's a drive by Jalen Hurts to kick a game tying field goal, and then a defensive stop and a drive, a season defining, possibly an MVP defining drive to win the game by Jalen Hurts. For like 3 quarters, no, 2 quarters, 3 quarters. What would you say? 2, 3? They were playing pretty bad, the entire team.
Yeah, I would say 2. I would say it was the first half.
Yeah, so the first half, the Bills just had it in the bag. Like I was like, oh, they're probably gonna win, or they might not. And they did not. But they were playing great. The Bills were playing great. Josh Allen had his best game of the year. He had his best fantasy game for sure by the year. Got me 50 points.
Really quick before you go on, first time in NFL history that both starting quarterbacks had multiple passing touchdowns and rushing touchdowns.
Nice. Hell yeah. Jalen Hurts and Josh Allen are just freaking animals. And actually they're like very similar in my opinion. Like they're like the same player. I think Josh Allen's running ability is a little bit better, but it's crazy because the Bills played an almost perfect game and they still lost
until the very end. They just kind of collapsed. And it's funny because the Eagles were like, hold my beer, we'll lose this game. Jason Kelce having 2 false starts as the center, back-to-back plays. For like as good as Jason Kelce was, that was stupid. And I love seeing the reaction of Jason Kelce and Jalen Hurts after Jake Elliott makes a 59-yard field goal in the pouring rain, and then they both just shake their head like, Jesus Christ.
The Bills, their season's not over, but they're getting on the verge of having to win out. I feel like they might be able to lose one more game, but they're in a tough schedule. They need to win. Like, how many games are left? It's what, week 13? So there's
I think 5
more games. I would say, if they're going to lose,
there's 6 more games, depending on if you have a bye.
I would say if they're going to lose a couple, they need to win out, but their season's not over. I mean,
I will say the bye came at a perfect time for them because this is like, all right, let's reflect. Let's sit down. What do we need to do to make the playoffs? Because they've been on a downward trend, man. I think they've won 1 game in their last, 4? Something crazy like that. Like it's been bad for them. Maybe they've won more. I don't know. I'm just trying to recall from my memory, but it has not looked pretty. Especially the 1 game that I do remember them winning recently against the Giants, however many weeks ago that was an ugly win. Mm-hmm. And I mean, Josh Allen has not been playing great. I mean, this was his best game, like you said. Last week was pretty decent, but
it's like statistically he's been playing good. I mean, I should know I have him on fantasy,
but he has 8 straight games now with an interception, which is crazy.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, the interception he threw against I think it's Bradbury, or who Bradbury picked it off. I think it was just a really good defensive play. And he didn't really see him, but other than that, he was playing phenomenally. Like this is where I was like, oh shit, this is like MVP Josh Allen. But yeah, man, yeah, they've won one out of their last 4.
Jesus, man, yeah, it's been bad.
Yeah, but season's not over. Don't fret, Bills. You still have hope. You're not the Chargers. Sorry,
yeah, man. For real. No, nothing to apologize at this point. I'm over this team. Until we'll get to the Chargers, but like, yeah. In terms of the Eagles,
are legit, though.
Eagles are legit. I am concerned about that defense, though. The Eagles' defense this year has been giving up significant points, and the offense is still performing well, even when they start off slow or they have a rough patch. But they can get an explosive play with DeAndre Swift, like out of the blue. They still have AJ Brown. Devontae Smith had a good game. So they have weapons. Jalen Hurts, still good. And no one can still stop the tush push, the brotherly shove. Like, it's a dangerous team. Even when they're not playing their best, they still win because they play complementary football. At least they're good enough to win on both sides of the ball. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be a big test against the 49ers. I, spoiler alert, am going to be picking the 49ers because, first of all, it's a revenge game from the NFC Championship. Brock Purdy's going to be healthy. And I think this defense has holes in it. I think you can pass and run on the Eagles defense.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a good test, but we will talk about that later. All right, let's get to Sunday night. Or let's not.
Yeah, not much to talk about.
We both picked them. They ended up winning, the Ravens. Funny, we both went against your team. But, you know, this is where, you know, Dane's not completely biased towards his team. But, you know, the Ravens won 20-10, and it was closer than that. The Chargers, I'll say my little piece and I'll let you go. But the Chargers defense was actually playing good for like 3.5 quarters. They just couldn't get points on the board, man. It was annoying. God damn. I mean, the Ravens have a good defense. And they really shut down Lamar. They really shut down the run game. The biggest contributor on the Ravens was Zay Flowers. Shit,
thank you, Zach.
How many yards?
He didn't have many yards. He only had the 2 touchdowns.
I feel like he had so much more yardage than that.
No, like okay, I'll say this. The Chargers, this was their best defensive performance. Like, they locked down Lamar. The edges were set, which was great. Tuli Pelotu played well. I mean, Khalil Mack had himself a game. The secondary played really well also for a majority of the game. I mean, shit, the defense only gave up 3 points off of 4 turnovers. That's really good. Like, the Chargers turned the ball over 4 separate times and they only gave up 3 points. So the defense actually did well. But it's the same storyline. Only one side of the ball seems to be doing well with the Chargers. And that's not a recipe to win. I think Brandon Staley did a pretty good job. But I mean, Quentin Johnson, injured. We have Eric Erickson or whatever the fuck his name in coming in. And it's Keenan. It's literally the Keenan show. And it's like, I'm starting to question like how year in and year out people talk about how talented the roster is for the Chargers. But it's like, I'm starting to think that it might be overhyped with how talented people think the Chargers roster actually is. Because Austin Eckler, I think he's like 30 now or however old he is, 29. He's regressed big time. Can't catch the ball, fumbling all the time, looks slow out there. Maybe he's battling an injury. Offensive line has definitely regressed. Like, this offensive line looks bad. It is literally the same story game in and game out when they need a 2-minute drive. They give up a sack. They blow coverage. They blow a protection plan. And then Herbert gets sacked because he's getting blitzed off the edge and has 1 to 2 seconds to throw the ball because someone doesn't pick up the block. It's bad. Quentin Johnson, another drop, gets injured. But apparently, I don't know if you heard this, Jake, Brandon Staley said it was the team's decision to hold him out the rest of the game. It was basically a benching. And as much as I dislike Quentin Johnson, he's a rookie. He needs his... I still like him better than Eric Erickson or whatever his name is that we picked up off the street. Like, Quentin Johnson at least knows the offense. There were 2 miscommunications between Herbert and Erickson. And at least Quentin Johnson can possibly catch the ball and give you like a big play. I don't think it's likely, but it literally is Herbert and Allen on this offense right now. Gerald Everett had the 1 good touchdown and, you know, he like body slammed the defender. But this offense under Kellen Moore has been very up and down. The defense has been mostly down with little patches of up. It's just not a well-coached team. I also blame the general manager. I think Tom Telesco hasn't built a proper team, and I think coaching hasn't been good. It's all subpar coaching. So there's just a lot of dysfunctional aspects of the Los Angeles Chargers right now. 2024 is not going to be great either because they have so much dead money based off of JC Jackson and players that aren't going to be playing. So it's rough, man. The Chargers are in a rough spot. They are a very bad team, and it's kind of reality.
Yeah, they're last place in the division, huh?
Yep. They only have 4 wins. They have as many wins as the Giants this year. That'll really put it into perspective for you.
That's pathetic, dude. It's just annoying. It's annoying to me because like I could see this team wasting Justin Herbert's career. And you know, everyone wants to blame Justin Herbert for like a lot of the woes, but I don't think it's Justin Herbert. I would say it's like maybe like 10% Justin Herbert, but like the coaching, it needs to change. It needs to change. Oh my God.
It's
bro.
not just coaching though. Like Tom Telesco, look at his tenure. He's been with the Chargers and hired like what's his name? Mike McCoy, Anthony Lynn, and now Brandon Staley. And all of them have only had 1 playoff berth each.
Yeah. They need to just clean house. They need to get rid of the GM. They need to get rid of the coach, and then they need to hire a good GM.
Yep.
A good coach, and they need to sign them to a 4-year deal. Give them 4 years to build something. Give them 4 years to make the playoffs. Because I think that's you can't just give these coaches 1-year contracts. Like that's fucking stupid. You're not gonna build anything off of that. I mean, unless you just know they're just bad. But yes, the Chargers like actually like bug the fuck out of me. Like because I do see the potential, but it's just it's literally the same fucking story.
If they bug you, Jake, think about us Chargers fans. We have been seeing it for
I'm
decades.
sorry, and I feel for you because it literally like it's getting me heated just thinking about it. Like you have, and I'm gonna disagree with you. I still think they have a lot of talent on this team. I think like potential wise, I think Quentin Johnson can be a good wide receiver. I think Keenan Allen is a top 10 wide receiver. I think Austin Eckler is a top 10 running back. Justin Herbert's a top 7 quarterback. Like, and they have offensive linemen. That's like the best thing you can have. And they have good players on defense. It's just so fucking annoying, dude. Like, it just bugs the shit out of me.
One thing that I
do
will
the same shit every year
about this year is if you think about like how much money was not playing, like JC Jackson, like was a $19 million cap hit on a different team now. Mike Williams, like a $20 million cap hit on IR because he tears his ACL. Josh Palmer still on his rookie contract. He's on IR, because he injures himself. Corey Linsley, like a $12 million center. He's been out since like week 4 because of a heart issue. Probably never going to play again. And then Joey Bosa on IR, $22 million cap hit. So it's like all of our big name players are out. Again, it's the same story as a Chargers fan. It's injuries, it's coaching, it's management. It is a loophole, and it is just the same cycle year in and year out. Something has to give.
Yep. Time to clean house. Time to have a fire sale because it's obviously not fucking working. All right. Next game, we definitely did not pick this. It was a very boring game. It was so boring. It was almost kind of entertaining. But the Chicago Bears beat the Vikings 12-10 and really shook up that division. I think it was like 3-3 at half. Yeah, it was 3-3 half, and then the Bears made a field goal. If you like field goals and defense, this was the game for you. I think there was 1 touchdown in the game, or 2 touchdowns.
1.
Oh, there was 2 touchdowns.
The Bears never scored a touchdown. They only kicked field goals. The only touchdown was to Hawkinson.
Yep. God damn, this was an annoying game. This was Josh Dobbs' worst game so far this year. He had 4
One
picks.
thing that I will say is the Bears defense has really turned it up the last like 4 or 5 weeks. Like they look good. And, I mean, even without Justin Jefferson, like this offense for Minnesota was still performing pretty well. Like the cornerbacks have been doing really well. The secondary has been getting picks. I mean, they gave Jared Goff a hard time. They've given Dobbs a hard time, and those are like decent offenses. I mean,
yeah. And both sides of the defense have been playing very well. They both played really good. in this game. It just when the Vikings needed to stop to stop them getting a field goal, weren't able to do it. Bears offense is very annoying to watch.
Yeah.
Holy shit. How many fucking times are you going to run that wide receiver screen? Like, I swear to
Probably
God, they
20.
ran it 3 times in a row. They ran it 3 times in a row.
Yeah,
Or I know for a fact they ran it twice in a row.
Let's just pass
fuck?
it to DJ Moore behind the line of scrimmage a couple times in a row. Maybe give Herbert a run here and there. Maybe give Cole Kmet a pass. And then let's run the screens again. That's basically what it is. Or Justin Fields can try and scramble and gain a couple yards with his legs. Like it is. I mean, he had the one big completion to DJ Moore to like put them in field goal range and win the game. Like I'll give him that. But like, yeah, this offense is not great, but I think there is still life because Justin Fields can still make big time plays. This is what his second game back since his injury. So like there's still something with Justin Fields. I still don't think that he's the answer long term. I think that I would still look towards a different quarterback in the future. But you know, he can make big plays here and there. It's just too inconsistent.
Yeah. Well, that was week 12. That was a fun one.
Yes, it was.
Except for the primetime games. Primetime games kind of sucked.
Yeah, they did.
Unless you're a Niners fan.
True that. Or a Dallas fan. Or a Green Bay fan. Or a Raven fan. Or basically any team that won on primetime. But guys, let's kind of push this a little bit quicker. We're already over an hour for our recap. So sorry, I thought we were going to go a little bit quicker, but sometimes we don't. So fucking deal with it. We're going to move on to our power rankings. So I already have my list. I'm ready whenever you are, Jake. So just let me know.
So my 32, no changes here. I still got the Panthers. They have the worst record in the league, and they're a bad team. They're really bad. I almost swapped them with my next team, but I just really couldn't do it yet. So yeah,
I got Carolina at 32 as well.
All right, so that means for 31, I have the Patriots.
I have the Patriots at 31, staying put as well.
Yeah, same put. Both bad teams. 30, moving up one spot, I have the Giants. Yeah, they've won like 2 in a row, but I think they just beat really bad teams. So and even with wins, they just look bad. So yeah.
At 30 for me is Arizona. They got obliterated by the Rams. Kyler Murray did have his one win when he first came back, but I think there's still a better team with Kyler. Their defense is just really bad. I mean, they get gashed on the ground and they give up a lot through the air as well. So Arizona, they can still play spoiler, still win maybe a game or two left. But yeah, Arizona at 30.
Yeah, and that's who I have at 29. Really, the only reason I have them at 4 is because with Kyler, I think they can, unlike the previous 3 teams, I think they can actually beat some decent teams. So that's why I have them at 29.
I can see it. 29 for me might be a little bit of a surprising one. I actually have the Washington Commanders dropping 4 spots to 29. They have been not shut out, but they've looked terrible the last 2 weeks. They lost to Tommy DeVito, and then they get absolutely cream pied by the Dallas Cowboys. Defense is in shambles. Sam Howell's had bad weeks back to back. They still have a good offense overall, I think, but they're just not doing it consistently. So yeah, Washington at 29.
All right, at 28, moving up one spot. It was an ugly win, but they still won. I got the Chicago Bears. They're 4-8, and yeah, I mean they're only one game behind Green Bay, I think. So I don't know. Who knows? Maybe they can put together some wins and make this division interesting.
Yeah. 28 for me is where I have the Giants. I have them moving up one spot as well. Good wins for Tommy DeVito, but like you said, against bad teams, I still have question marks about the offense significantly, especially with Tommy DeVito leading the helm. But, Saquon can get going. The defense has been playing better, so we'll see. New York at 28.
All right, at 27, dropping 3 spots. Maybe a little harsh, but they just suck. I had the New York Jets at 4-8.
Yeah.
They suck. And they got worse with Tim Boyle. So,
Yeah.
it's unfortunate.
I can definitely see that. 27 for me, this is where I have Chicago. I have them moving up one spot. I've been really actually impressed with the defense recently. I think the defense has definitely, made some strides in the right direction over the last month. I still have question marks about the offense, but their defense is definitely playing well. So yeah, I wish that I could move them up more, but just based off of where every other team's moving and where I had them previously, I can't move them up higher. But yeah, Chicago at 27.
26, moving down one spot. I have the Tampa Bay Bucks. They're 4-7. I'm pretty high on them, even though they keep losing. They look good while losing.
Yeah.
And I think they got a quarterback. They have weapons. It's just they can't piece together wins. So, yeah, I got them at 26.
26 for me, moving up one spot, is Tennessee. They beat the Carolina Panthers. I'm not going to take too much away from it. The offense still didn't look great. I think Derrick Henry's okay. The defense looks good, but it was a bad team. Tennessee still not a great team. Yeah, Tennessee at 26.
And that is who I have at 25.
All right.
Tennessee.
25 for me, that's where I have Tampa. So we'll just switch them. Tampa moved down two spots. Like you said, they look good while losing. Baker Mayfield, like I mentioned in the previous part of this episode, I think you can build around him. So I have been impressed with what I've been seeing from him. But yeah, they just continue to lose games. So Tampa 25.
All right, 24, dropping two spots. This is where I have the Commanders. I mean, really, best thing about this season is I think they have their future at quarterback.
There you go. 24 for me. This is where I have the Jets. Still a good defense. Offense is abysmal. Boyle is worse than Zach Wilson, and I never thought I would say that. Yeah, it's just the season's in shambles. So yeah, New York at 24.
All right, Dane.
I have my boys at 23 as well.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man.
Holy shit.
Is that who you were going to say at 23?
Yeah, that's who I have at 23.
Yeah.
All right, dude. All right.
And see, you can't say that I'm biased. Like, I do genuinely look at my team in an honest light.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the season, maybe I'm a little bit more biased, but like when it comes to actually watching the team play, I'm pretty critical of my team.
Yeah. I mean, they're 4-7 and they just suck, man. They just suck. And
yeah, they do.
It's as simple as that. They suck. And it's unfortunate because I really, really like Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
All right, 22. 22, dropping 3 spots. I have the Raiders. They're 5-7. It wasn't as bad of a loss as it could have been, but they've lost 2 in a row now after winning 2. Aiden O'Connell, he's a rookie, so I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that. 22 for me. This is where I have Green Bay. I have them moving up 4 spots. They've won 3 of their last 4. Definitely turning around. Not a pretty start to the season. Offense looked abysmal. Offense has definitely picked it up the last 2 weeks. So we'll see if Jordan Love can continue to build off that. And if the defense keeps playing the way it did against Detroit, watch out. Green Bay could definitely be a good team. So yeah, Green Bay at 22.
All right, 21. Dropping 5 spots. I have the 5-6 New Orleans Saints. They have not looked good at all. The defense hasn't looked good, which was supposed to be their strong suit. Alvin Kamara hasn't really looked that great. He's their best player. Yeah. Michael Thomas is hurt. Olave, he's kind of hurt now. They're injured. Derek Carr sucks.
Shaheed injured.
Yeah, this team has not looked good, and they're in jeopardy of losing that really bad division. So, yeah, Saints at 21.
21 for me. This is where I have the Raiders. I have them moving down 1 spot. Came out hot, but then just kind of tapered off. They started well with the interim head coach. Hasn't been panning out recently. Like you said, Aiden O'Connell is a rookie quarterback. He's going to go through his lumps and bruises. I still think that they have talent on this team. Max Crosby dealing with a little bit of injuries, and they just released Marcus Peters. So we'll see. Raiders. News. Yeah, breaking news. Raiders, kind of middle of the pack team, in my opinion. I think they can win games and lose games.
All right, number 20, moving up 1 spot. I have the Rams. Yeah, I mean, they destroyed a really bad Cardinals team. So good job.
20 for me. This is where I have Atlanta. I've been impressed with them recently. I still question Arthur Smith left and right, but it seems like he came up with a good game plan. Give Bijan and your best players the ball. The defense has been balling out. They're now in first in the division at a 5-6 record. So we'll see if they can continue to move in the right direction. Hopefully Arthur Smith can continue to call good plays. But yeah, Atlanta moving up 4-20.
And that is who I have moving up 4 spots at 19. Yeah, I just really like that they started giving Bijan the ball a lot more.
I bet
and
you do.
Desmond, I do. And Desmond Ridder, he has looked at times really good and at times kind of bad. But he's got definitely weapons to throw to, so he's got no excuses. He's just got to read the defenses right. Yep.
All right. 19 for me. This is where I actually have Minnesota. I have them dropping 2 spots. It was an ugly loss to the Bears. It hasn't looked pretty the last 2 weeks. Maybe I don't want to say the Josh Dobbs effect is over. I still think that he can make plays, but we're kind of seeing a little bit of what we saw in Tennessee, where the turnovers come into play, and Minnesota's defense is still playing really well, but I'm nervous because I don't know how much Justin Jefferson's going to make a difference if Josh Dobbs is still putting the ball in harm's way. I think it'll make a difference, obviously. Justin Jefferson is like arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL, but how much? I mean, they're still 6-6. They're a 500 team. They can still make the playoffs. So they just got to turn it around again. But yeah, Minnesota dropping 2 spots to 19.
All right. My biggest climber this week at 18, moving up 9 spots. I have the Green Bay Packers.
Hell yeah. All right.
Honestly, it was just the fact that they dominated the Lions like that. I still don't think this team's that great. But the fact that the Vikings lost, the Lions, they beat the Lions. This team is, you never know. Like, it's the NFL. They could just turn on the switch and win out. If they win out, holy crap, that would be insane. Could you imagine if they won the division? Could you imagine that?
At this point in time, I can't. But if they win 4 of their last 5, if they win this coming week, I can start picturing it a little bit more, especially if Jordan Love and the defense look like they did this last week.
Yeah, they're young, man. They have a young wide receiver core. They have a good defense. Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're a Packers fan, I'd be feeling a little giddy right now. But yeah, Packers at 18.
18 for me. This is where I have New Orleans. I'm dropping them 2 spots. They're dealing with injuries now. Derek Carr hasn't looked the best. Defense is still okay, but still giving up plays here and there. It's just been not what I expected from the Saints. It's been a disappointment, to say the least. Like Jake and I said earlier, this is one of the teams that we thought was going to kind of do a Philadelphia Eagles and like benefit from an easy schedule, but it just hasn't panned out that way. So New Orleans at 18, dropping 2.
All right, at 17, moving up 1 spot, I have the Indianapolis Colts. They're 6-5. Their defense is actually they're the 7th seed. I just looked it up, so they're having a good season. They're having a good season, and it's unfortunate because I do think this team would be a lot better with Anthony Richardson. But you know what, Gardner Minshew, shine, baby, so you can get a contract. Because honestly, that's what is gonna happen if he leads his team to the playoffs. He's going to get a contract. So, yeah, I like it. Colts at 17.
I like that. 17, dropping 2 spots. I have Seattle. It's been ugly recently. Defense hasn't looked great. Wow. Offense has been struggling.
You annihilated them. But you probably annihilated them last week. Huh?
I annihilated them, I think, 2 weeks ago. I can't remember, but yeah, they were one of my biggest fallers. Let's see. I had them. Maybe not. No, I don't even remember when I annihilated them. I haven't been as high on them as you. Anyway, but Seattle dealing with injuries as well. Kenneth Walker, Um, Geno Smith, I don't know what to say. I don't know if this last game against the 49ers was in part because of his injury or he just went up against a really good defense. But either way, it has not looked pretty this year. Yeah, they're an average team in my opinion. So yeah, Seattle right here.
Hey, I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. I think they're a very average to mediocre team.
Yeah, Seattle at 17.
All right, at 16, dropping 4 spots, I have the Cincinnati Bengals. They're 5-6, and honestly, the only reason I have them still this high is because they have a good defense and they have weapons all around. This team's just gonna fall off. Like, they're gonna fall off. If they win 2 more games, I'll be pretty shocked. This team's bad without Joe Burrow. And most teams are. If you lose your franchise quarterback, you're going to be bad. So it's not no fault of their own, but everyone kind of knows, like, when you lose your franchise guy like that, season's over.
It's downhill.
Like,
it's downhill from there.
It's really hard to play when that happens. And, not every team can be like the 49ers where you drop to your third quarterback and, win 10 in a row. Like, it's not the norm. So I really think this team is just prepping for next year and, getting Joe Burrow back healthy. So, yeah.
Agreed.
Bengals at 16.
16 for me, this is where I have the Rams, actually. I actually have them moving up 3 spots. I dropped them a little bit earlier, but that was because Stafford was injured. I think this team is much different with Stafford at the helm, even though he does put the ball in harm's way. I like what the defense is doing, getting Kyron Williams back. Puka Nacua is still there. Tutu Atwell, Higbee. Like, it shows this year has been a lot different than last year because Stafford's actually distributing the ball to other players other than Cooper Kupp. Partly because Cooper Kupp's been dealing with injury out throughout the year, but either way, I think Cooper Kupp will be fine. I think he'll come back, but I think they can still utilize the run game and get Puka going again. So, yeah, I like what I'm seeing from the Rams. Even though they don't have a good record, they're still a decent team in my opinion. So, yeah, I think that they're better than Seattle. I mean, they 2-0'd them, so 16 for the Rams.
All right, 15. I have the Vikings dropping 1 spot. They're 6-6. Yeah, it was an ugly win. It was an ugly loss to the Bears, who are a really inferior team. But I'm not going to pretend to forget what they did before the last several weeks. I mean, they were hot. They were almost as hot as the Broncos. Josh Dobbs, he's looked good. This was his first really bad game of the year. And yeah. I think they're going to go back to, being normal. They're going to get Justin Jefferson back. They're going to get healthy. They're on a bye. And their defense is playing really good. So yeah, I'm not going to drop them too much. So we'll see. But yeah, Vikings at 15.
15 for me. This is where I have Indianapolis. They're a playoff team right now. Jake already said they're number 7 seed. Defense has been playing well. I like what I'm seeing from Gardner Minshew. Jonathan Taylor healthy. Offensive line performing better than expected. This team's competitive, man. And I would definitely say that they have an ability to beat any team below them. And I think that they have an ability to beat some of the teams above them. So I like what I'm seeing from Indianapolis. Keep it rolling.
All right. At 14, I have the Bills dropping 1 spot. Yeah, they lost, but I think this was their best game. Even defensively. They weren't able to make the stop when it counted the most. But few are able to against the Eagles. But Josh Allen had his best game. The offense was clicking. The defense was clicking. They're not out of it. And they're a desperate team now. They're at that desperate mode. And when your back's against the wall, you do some crazy things. So I would not be surprised if this team kind of goes on a run coming off the bye.
I would not either. 14 for me. This is where I have Cincinnati. I'm dropping them 2 spots. Like you already said, season's over. Still a good team because of how many weapons they have, but with a backup quarterback who looks inferior in a lot of different areas, not going to win too many more games. So Cincinnati at 14.
All right, at 13, dropping 2 spots. This is where I have the Seahawks. Yeah, they just, like I said, they look like a mediocre team to me. They'll probably make the playoffs. And if they miss out on the playoffs, I will have a field day in the Seattle Seahawks Bleacher Report community. I will talk so much shit. Actually, no, I won't because I don't do that. But I'll talk shit in my head. But yeah, no, they just got dominated. They did a lot of work in the offseason to try and catch up with the 49ers, and it didn't work. So they got to go back to the drawing board.
Agreed. 13 for me. This is where I have Buffalo. I have them dropping 2 spots. Close game. Like you said, it was a good defensive performance through about 3/4 of the game. Fourth quarter started to give some life to the Eagles, but like you said, not many teams can hold them throughout the entirety of the game. Offense looked good, minus the 1 interception. But yeah, Buffalo, they should have won this game, in my opinion. They kind of let the Eagles come back into it, and the Eagles almost shot themselves in the foot as well. So good game from Buffalo, even though it was a tough loss. But yeah, I think this bye came at a perfect time for them. So Buffalo at 13.
All right, at 12, dropping 3 spots. I have the Cleveland Browns. They got annihilated, but they got pretty dominated by the Broncos. They lost their quarterback. It's just the offense. I've had question marks even with Deshaun Watson at quarterback. It's just not a good offense. The defense is legit, though. And I do think they can win more games. I mean, they have a good record already. So, if they win 1-2 more games, they'll have a winning record. So there's still a lot of season left. They're still in the playoffs. But, yeah, I don't know. Browns at 11.
All right. You meant 12, right?
Yeah, sorry, 12.
No, you're good. 12 for me. This is where I actually have Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's defense has been balling out. The offense looked better without Matt Canada. So who knows? Maybe when they're not going up against a really good defense, maybe this offense will look even better. It was good to see Pat Freiermuth get going again. Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren both getting going a little bit. So I think that Pittsburgh's a team you need to watch out for. They're well coached. It's a good defense. So watch out for Pittsburgh. Moving up 1 to 12 for me.
All right. At 11, moving up 6 spots at the Denver Broncos. They're on fire. They beat a good team. They did what the 49ers couldn't do. They beat the Cleveland Browns, who also were playing against PJ Walker. They're clicking right now. They are clicking on all cylinders. Russell Wilson looks good. He doesn't look like prime Russell Wilson in Seattle, but he looks decent. Like, he looks decent enough to win you games, to not turn over the ball. And I like the defense. I like the way the defense is playing right now. They're fun to watch, and I kind of want them to make a splash.
All right. I like it. I mean, I still haven't even said them, so we'll see where I have them.
Jeez, you top 7, homie?
We'll see. 11 for me. This is where I have Houston. I only dropped them 1 spot. I think it was a very competitive match. They could have tied this game. They could have possibly won an OT, but I don't want to speculate. It was a hard fought match, and I think they looked good losing. It was a good game, so I'm not going to drop them too much. Houston at 11.
All right, at 10, moving up 5 spots, I have the Steelers. They're 7-4. Yeah, they just find ways to win, and yeah, they beat up a beat up Bengals team, but this team is just. I want to say they have the weapons to put up numbers. I think they just got rid of, the thing holding them back. So hopefully they make a little bit of a splash and make that division even more fun.
Agreed. 10, this is where I have Cleveland. I have them dropping 4 spots. Like you said, they kind of got beat pretty decently by Denver. They did not look great. DTR gets injured. Running game couldn't get going too much. Passing game couldn't get going too much. It's the offense. I mean, the defense is still great, but you also lose Myles Garrett for how long, we don't know. But at the time of this recording, at least. But yeah, I'm concerned for this team, especially with the offense. But defense should still be really good. Cleveland at 10, dropping 4.
All right, at 9, This is where I have the Texans dropping one spot. You know, I'm still high on them, even though they lost. They lost in a sexy way. They look good losing, and obviously you want the win, but they're not. I think Stroud, Lawrence, and Anthony Richardson. That's going to be a fun matchups to watch for years to come. So they look good though. CJ Stroud looks like the real deal. They have weapons all over the place, and the defense is legit. So yeah, Texans at 9.
Here's a hot take: Detroit, number 9, dropping 6 spots for me, even though they are 8-3. This was bad. Jared Goff, back-to-back weeks of not looking great, and it was against division opponents. I get that, teams in the division play each other harder. I get that 100%. But this is back-to-back weeks now where Jared Goff has been a liability. The offensive line kind of got exposed somehow by Green Bay. This is supposed to be a top 5 unit. Like, they'd been playing like it all year, and then they just got shut down. Like, it was a bad loss. I still want to see Detroit beat a good team. They're another one of those, like the Miamis, the Dallases. It's I still think Detroit is a top team in the NFL. Don't get it twisted. Like they're 8-3 for a reason. They're well coached. It's a good team, but they need to rebound, especially after getting kind of cream pied by the Green Bay Packers, even though the score doesn't show it. So yeah, Detroit at 9, moving down 6.
All right, at 8, moving up 2 spots. I have the Dolphins. Not super impressed with their win, but they are 8-3, so good for them. I still want to see them beat a good team. So, yep.
8. This is my hot take as well. This is where I have Denver. I have Denver moving up 6 spots, even though their record is not better than the Detroit Lions. Geez, that was a tongue twister. Or some of the other teams that I have lower than them. They're on a 5-game winning streak.
Damn.
And that says a lot about the team. It shows a lot about the coaching and how they're able to turn it around. The defense is playing well. The offense is playing well. It's well coached. It's a well-oiled machine. You don't go on a 5-game winning streak and be a bad team. Like, it's a good team. They just started off really slow. They had a rough start. Maybe it was the scheme, learning the scheme, whatever it may have been. They're good now. So, yeah, Denver at 8, moving up 6.
Yeah, I would not want to play this team right now if I was a team. Like, this team is just scary, dangerous. And it's not like they beat you by blowing you out. They beat you by just grinding you down and winning those tough wins. All right, number 7, dropping 4 spots. This is where I have the Detroit Lions. It was an ugly one. I still think they're a good team. It's just, again, they're like the Dolphins. I haven't seen. Well, they beat the Chiefs, but I don't know, man. Week 1, anything can happen. I don't know. There's just part of me that just it wants to believe in the Lions, but then there's also a part of me that's like, are they real? Are they just pretenders? At times they look really, really good, and then at times they look really, really bad. All 3 of their losses, they've looked really, really bad. It's not like it's been close or anything. The scoreboard will lie to you against the Packers. So, I think they'll be fine. They'll still make the playoffs, but yeah. So Lions at 7.
7 for me. This is where I have Jacksonville. I have them moving up 2 spots. Good win against a tough Houston team. Defense playing well. Trevor Lawrence has looked great recently. Zay Jones, Calvin Ridley. Apparently, Calvin Ridley just plays better when Zay's out there. It's kind of a weird phenomenon, but it happens. And I really like I said, I like this defense. ETN, Christian Kirk, when he's on. So it's a good team. I like Jacksonville. Moving up 2 spots to 7.
And that's who I have at 6, moving up 1 spot. They had an ugly one against the Niners, but they've had 2 really good ones in a row. And even before the Niners, they're winning some games. They have a good defense, good quarterback, good everything. So Jags at 6.
6 for me. This is where I have Miami. Tua hasn't looked the best the last couple weeks, but the defense is definitely looking better. I like what I see. I think they're well coached. They're one of those teams that needs to beat a good team, though. But as of right now, I like what I see from Miami. So Miami at 6, moving up 1.
All right. Number 5, I got the Cowboys moving up one spot. Again, they beat up on bad teams. So
Yeah.
not impressed.
5 for me, moving up 3 spots. Wasn't the prettiest performance from the offense, but the defense still lights out. I have the Baltimore Ravens. They beat up a bad Chargers team. I do want to see the offense be a little bit more definitive in their wins consistently, but they can rely off of the defense. The defense is balling out this year. They are one of the best teams, if not the best team in the AFC. In my power rankings right now, though, it was kind of hindered last week. So, Baltimore at 5.
And that's who I have at 4. It wasn't the best win, but they still won. And yeah, I mean, the offense has looked the best it has in a couple years. So I think the Ravens are a dangerous team.
Oh, 100%. At 4 for me, this is where I have Dallas. I have them moving up one spot. They beat up on a bad team. They still have a really good record. Let's just see them beat a good team.
All right, 3. Even though they won, just like another team played better than them. And yeah, I got the Chiefs at number 3. They have the best quarterback, but I'm not scared of that offense, honestly. Mm-hmm. Like, I know Patrick Mahomes can do things, but I think if he plays a really good defense, I think he'll get shut down, to be honest. Just this year. Other years, maybe not, but he just needs more weapons. It's just not scary. So, but that defense is nice for the Chiefs.
Yeah, agreed. 3 for me. This is where I have your boys. I have them moving up one spot. Definitive win against the Seahawks. Defense looks like they're back on track. They've had multiple weeks now. Offense is humming. 49ers are just a dangerous team. Top 3 teams, I think you could mix and match. Even though one of the teams has the best record, I think that the way that they've all been playing, they could all be the best team. So, yeah, San Francisco at 3.
Yeah, and that's who I have at 2. It was a dominant win against a playoff team. I mean, at least it was a 500 team, right? So they got to be somewhat good to have 6 wins, unlike the Cowboys, But, the 49ers are healthy. They're getting healthier, and their defense and offense is just clicking at the right moment, and they're going to get a really good test against the number 1 team.
Yep. Agreed. Number 2, that's where I have the Chiefs, which means that we both have Philadelphia at number 1. The Chiefs, for me, they're kind of relying off the running game with Pacheco and the defense this year, which is kind of crazy to think about. I think Rashee Rice is kind of solidifying himself as the number 1 wide receiver. Travis Kelce is still there. Obviously, he's the best receiving option. But other than that, it hasn't been a great receiving core. He definitely needs help, but the defense is the best he's had in his life. And the Eagles, they're 10-1 for a reason. They just know how to play football, even when it's not pretty. They're just consistent.
Yeah, they're a good team. I'm not going to say they're lucky. They're a good team. They find ways to win, ugly ways. They can dominate teams, run the ball, pass the ball. They can win on defense. They have a good coach. They got it all, man. They are just all-around good team. And they got an elite quarterback.
100%.
He might win the MVP this year. I don't know.
100%. All right, guys, that means we are done with our power rankings. We are on our last part of the episode. We are going to go into week 13, starting with Thursday night football.
All right, Thursday night, we got the Seattle Seahawks traveling to the Cowboys. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm taking the Cowboys here. Seattle is a better team than what the Cowboys have faced, but I think the Cowboys are a better team than the Seahawks. And I think they'll get a chance to prove that the Cowboys are a good team, even though they have not beaten sub 500 or plus 500 teams.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle's the first team that they're going to face. where they have an opportunity. Well, not the first team that they're going to face, but if they beat them, this will be the first team that they've beaten with above a 500 record. Seattle is 6-5. It's in Dallas. I'm going Cowboys as well. I still think that with the struggles that the Seahawks have been having, I still think that the Cowboys defense shuts them down. And I think Dak and CeeDee have just been on a tear recently. So yeah, give me the Cowboys.
All right, next game we got your boys, the Chargers, traveling to New England.
Like I said, the Patriots have an opportunity to win their third game. And I would not be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest, honestly. Even as bad as New England has been, the Chargers are just as bad.
Yeah. But I'm still going Chargers, man. They can't end the season with 4 wins. They can't.
They can.
They can't. They can, but they can't. So I'm going Chargers very, very, very reluctantly.
Yeah, I'm going to go Chargers as well, just because I think that New England's offense is really bad, but I think this could be a low-scoring game. I think this game could be like a 20-17 game, Chargers.
All right, Arizona Cardinals traveling to Pittsburgh Steelers. Give me Pittsburgh. I definitely think Arizona will make this interesting, but yeah, I kind of think the Cardinals suck, dude. And if the Steelers want to showcase their new offense against a team,
This is the
Cardinals
team to do it.
are the team. So I think they go out like guns a-blazing or guns firing. So yeah, I got the Steelers.
Yeah, I got the Steelers as well. It's at home. It's going to be cold. Not only that, the Cardinals just have a really poor rush defense. I think Jaylen Warren and Najee Harris could have a day. Give me the Steelers.
All right, next game, you go. You go first. But we got the Colts traveling to the Tennessee Titans.
Titans are a better team at home, but I like the Colts in this matchup. I think the Colts have just been playing better football overall. I still have my question marks about Will Levis. He had a good game to start off the season. I think Derrick Henry could have himself a day, but I also think the Colts have enough on offense against this Titans defense and Jonathan Taylor to pull it off. So I'm going Colts.
Yeah, I'm going to go Colts as well.
I just realized I'm going up against DeAndre this week in fantasy, and he has Jaylen Warren. God damn.
He's about to have a Kyren game.
Oh my god, he's about to.
Or you better hope Najee has the. You better hope Najee has a good game,
dude. For real.
All right, this next game is going to be fun. We got the Denver Broncos traveling to the Houston Texans.
Oh, this is a good game. This might be the game of the. Well, no, it's not going to be the game of the week, but it has potential to be the game of the week.
It will be up there. 100%.
Yes.
Who you got, Dane?
Oh man. Dude, this is tough because I think the Broncos defense is definitely going to give the Texans a hard time. And I would kind of compare the Broncos defense with the way they've been playing recently to Jacksonville. I think this is going to be a shootout because I still think CJ Stroud, Tank Dell, Singletary, Nico Collins, I think they're all going to still be relevant, and I think that they're still going to make big plays. And the Texans defense is no laughing matter either. I think that they're going to make it hard on Russ. This might be an exact replica of the Jacksonville and Houston game. I think I'm going to go Broncos though, man. It is so hard to pick against them. They're on a 5-game winning streak. And as much as I like the Texans, I think Russ, with as well as he's been playing this year, has the experience to kind of know what to do in these situations. And as much as I like DeMeco Ryan as a head coach, he's a new head coach, and I like Sean Payton here. I'm going to go Broncos.
Yeah, I almost was going to pick the Texans here, but when you were talking, and it was funny because I started thinking about, well, Russell Wilson's been here before, and then you mentioned Sean Payton, like they've been here before. They've been in these tough games, and yeah, man, I think I'm going to go Broncos as well. Even though I kind of want the Texans to win, but
Broncos country. Let's ride.
Let's ride.
You can officially say that and not be embarrassed. That's crazy.
All right, next game. Wow, this one's going to be interesting. We got the Detroit Lions traveling to the New Orleans Saints.
I'm not going to complicate this one. Even as bad of a loss as the Detroit Lions had to Green Bay, Derek Carr is going to be without Michael Thomas. He's more likely than not going to be without Rashid Shaheed and Chris Olave. So
Yeah.
because of that, I'm going Lions.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Lions as well. But if the Saints defense decides to step up, they could give this Lions offense some trouble.
Agreed. 100%.
All right, next game. We got the Atlanta Falcons traveling to the New York Jets. Give me the Falcons.
Yeah, I'm going to go Falcons as well. I think this one will be a better matchup for the Jets than it was against the Dolphins. I mean, I like the Falcons defense, but I definitely think the Jets defense could make Desmond Ridder throw some like costly interceptions. And they're still good against the run. It's going to be tough for Bijan. It's going to be tough sledding, but I still think Bijan will get it done on the ground. Yeah, give me the Falcons as well, but I think this will be a close one.
Mm-hmm. All right, next game we got the Miami Dolphins traveling to the Washington Commanders.
Give me the Dolphins.
Give me the Dolphins. They don't get to prove themselves yet.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, next game we got the next game we got the Carolina Panthers traveling to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Give me the Bucks. They're going to be desperate for a win.
I think this game is going to be closer than people think, but I'm going to go Bucks as well. The only thing that scares me is they just fired Frank Reich, and teams usually win after they fire their head coach, but I just can't see it happening. It's in Tampa also. Baker is a better quarterback at this point in time with more weapons. So give me the Bucks.
All right, Cleveland Browns traveling to the Los Angeles Rams. This is going to be a good game. I am actually going to go Rams.
Damn, I thought I was going to be the only one. I'm going Rams as well.
Yeah, I don't know what their quarterback situation is like. Regardless, if the Broncos can, run and throw all over the Browns, and the Rams can, especially with that run game. I like the Rams here.
I like the Rams here as well, especially with a third string quarterback in for the Browns. They're probably going to be without Myles Garrett as well for the defense. So that's a huge hit. And I think that Stafford, he'll probably turn the ball over once, maybe twice, but I still think that they'll be able to get enough done with Kyren Williams and Puka to win this game.
All right. The big one. Game of the week. Could be game of the year. Could be the most important game in deciding a bunch of stuff. We got the 49ers traveling to the Philadelphia Eagles. Who do you got, Dane?
I already gave a full disclosure and a sneak peek of my pick. I'm going 49ers. I just think that they've been more dominant with the way that they've been winning. I think this is going to be a great game. I think that Philadelphia is still going to be able to score. I think that they're still going to be able to stop Brock Purdy here and there. But it's too hard to bet against Brock Purdy and this offense in this matchup with how many yards the Eagles have been giving up. Like, the defense is not the Eagles of last year. Even though it's in Philadelphia, I think that they've got this. I think they had this game circled on their calendar since the NFC Championship game, and it's revenge time. I'm going 49ers.
Yeah. I picked them in the offseason. I'm picking them now. This is going to be a big test, though. 100%. Like, if they can beat them, and if they can beat them by like 10 points, which I don't think it's going to happen. But if they beat them somehow by like multiple points, oh my goodness. the 49ers are the real deal. I think they're already the real deal. But the Eagles, they're just a very scary team. And they find ways to win. And it's in Philadelphia, man. Philadelphia is a tough place to win. But you know what? Yeah, I think one of these two teams is going to the Super Bowl. I really do. I thought it last year. But you know what? The 49ers are more healthy, too. You know, the Eagles might be without Lane Johnson, and the defense of the 49ers is clicking. I think that is going to be the deciding factor because they shut down Jalen Hurts in that first quarter before Brock Purdy got hurt. And, you know, we all know what happens when you're on the field all the time. So, yeah, give me the 49ers.
Hell yeah.
With confidence. All right. Sunday night, we got the Kansas City Chiefs.
This is actually more exciting than I thought I would be with the way Green Bay's been playing recently.
I agree. Damn, dude. Could you imagine if they beat the Chiefs?
If they do, and Jordan Love looks good doing it, I'm rewriting the narrative or spinning the narrative of what I originally had for Jordan Love, excuse me. High roller, baby.
Yeah. You know, I just got done saying like I don't love the Chiefs' weapons, and you got done saying like they really rely on that run game. But the Packers are good at stopping the run. They have a good defense. This is gonna be close. I think this is gonna be a close game. I don't have the stones to pick the Packers. I really don't. Do you, Dane?
I do. I'm going Packers.
Ooh. All right. I'm going to go Chiefs just so we can be different on
I think this is the first game we've differed on, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Yeah. I genuinely think that the Chiefs are probably going to win this one. But there's something in my heart that's just kind of saying like, Jordan Love's got something to prove here. They're riding high off of that momentum after a big divisional win against the Lions in Detroit. And the way this defense played, I think that they can slow Patrick Mahomes down and his receiving options. If they can figure out how to slow down Travis Kelce and then force Rashee Rice to be the number or the only receiver, I think that they have the cornerbacks to kind of put them in a tricky predicament. And if they can slow down Isaiah Pacheco, it's going to be a possibly low scoring game because I also think the Chiefs are going to make it very difficult for Jordan Love. But it's in Green Bay. I think that they might be riding some momentum. The fans might be a little bit crazy. So yeah, give me Green Bay in an upset.
All right. That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't be mad. All right, next game, Monday night, we got the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Give me the Jags.
Give me the Jags as well. Browning ain't going to do shit. Probably going to fuck me in fantasy because Jamar Chase will probably have one catch for like 7 yards or some shit against this defense.
Just bench him, dude.
Bench Jamar Chase. But
do it.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Jamar Chase still has potential to break one off. Yeah, I'm going Jags. And guys, that's going to do it. That is our mashup.
One episode.
Yeah, all 3 episodes in one for the second time in a row. Guys,
I just forgot I forgot to change a little banner.
Who gives a shit? No one watches anyway. Anyway, guys, I know no one's here listening to this part, but if you are, thank you. Follow us on our Instagram here, like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications on. Anything you can do to help the podcast grow, we'd greatly appreciate.
Why the fuck do we still do this? Thanks for listening, and as always, peace. Go Niners.